Live in a constant state of fear and misery.
All right. So uh the spin-off that Jihan Wu has reportedly been involved with off of Bitmain is actually going live. So it's called Matrixport, and it is based out of Singapore. And this might be a little tinfoily, but I see a lot of things just in this one Yahoo article from Yahoo Finance on this. It's currently employing about 100 people, and a lot of them are people who were let go from Bitmain during their recent restructuring after the failed IPO attempt. And what they're trying to do is kind of establish a BitGo competitor to kind of step in and play not only just the OTC functions and financial services, but also custody functions of things. And they've specifically set up in Singapore to skirt the trading ban in China and are trying to kind of build connections with miners in China to, stir up liquidity and actually get the business off the ground. And the current CEO is actually also a former, not only Bitmain employee, but a shareholder and founding member with 4% stake in Bitmain. But he's also the guy who ran their investment arm. So the guy who was kind of calling the shots when Bitmain started jumping around, making key investments during the New York Agreement, 2X, and the UASF, and companies like Circle and BitPay, and just kind of throwing money around to try to shift the corporate landscape towards Bcash. And I find it very interesting the way this person has kind of left Bitmain to take control of Matrixport, and the whole way they're structuring the company and trying to court all of these miners in China as large customers off the bat. Just because it's the person involved was clearly involved in them effectively bribing other companies in the space. And it's also weird given the huge failure of Bitmain's Bcash move that Jihan would kind of push another bad idea in trying to build up their initial customer base out of miners in a country where the government is kind of trying to slowly push them out of the country. It just all seems kind of very odd and like not really well thought through in terms of long-term planning. Like there is some kind of ulterior motive here. And just the way it picked up all of these people cut from Bitmain, all of the same like leadership and investors. Even Bitmain is invested in this company themselves, and just the connections they're positioning in the ecosystem to try to start off. It just seems very fishy, and like Jihan is just right back to getting up to things like how Bitmain acted during the entire New York Agreement and UASF fiasco.
We all know he's not gonna go away.
But it's
Let's
just also
hope.
like what,
Let's hope
like
what
how
you're
does he
talking about. Sorry, go ahead.
like how does he sorry, how does he expect this to like work under the Communist Party when what he's effectively trying to do here is facilitate capital flight for large miners, like them being able to mine Bitcoin in China, which the government is trying to phase out, send that to this company based out of Singapore, and then sell these assets in a foreign jurisdiction. Like he's literally just setting up a huge capital flight machine for large miners in China. And like, why would he think the government wouldn't come down on that with a hammer, like right off the bat, and him particularly?
It's all about Guanxi. So he don't have enough connections to make sure that Bitcoin is not getting effed over in China, but he has enough to make sure that people will be able to get out money of China. At least that's so he just lowered his risk. You know, it's not like he would change too many things, so it would
But
be
that's the
unlikely
thing,
to
though.
go after him.
He didn't lower his risk. He's a Chinese national who is building a business that's specifically trying to help Chinese citizens move large amounts of value to another country and sell it there.
Yeah, I'm just
Like
saying
the
that compared
government's,
to what he would have been able to do, like open a Bitcoin shop in China, which is obviously cannot do that anymore. You cannot pay with Bitcoin in China anymore. So compared to ideas like that, he thought, well, okay, this is less risky, but and I think I can handle this and handle the officials. So that's what I
but
think.
like that's kind of what I'm saying, man, is like if you have that attitude, you have very good connections in the Communist Party because that's not the kind of thing you can just go, hey, I'm going to do this. And the government goes, okay. Like capital flight is one of the biggest concerns regarding like massive amounts of wealth in China. And one of the big things they're worried about with things like Bitcoin is the large rate mesh as something that the government would allow or not come down on unless you are very well connected.
He's a billionaire. He wouldn't be a billionaire if he wouldn't be very well connected.
Yeah, and this is like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna cut in. I mean, China's been going through a lot. Like, I mean, if you just look at what's going on in Hong Kong and them trying to repatriate that area and a lot of the crackdowns going on there. And I mean, there's all this stuff going on with these ghost cities that have been going on for a long, long time. And there's a lot of trouble there within that Communist Party. And I mean, just because it is like one party and that goes by the party mantra, I mean, for sure there's individuals in that party with their own interests, and I'm sure that there's some alignments that are kind of ready for that sort of big split within China if it happens. And how exactly that goes, I mean, maybe Jihan, yeah, I'm sure he's got some friends in Mongolia because he was set up there for a long time. And I mean, Mongolia's border region is not really well governed by Mongolia. I mean, it's some interesting areas without that much real solid government structure as far as the people that are there. And it's hard to tell, but I mean, I imagine that there's a lot of conflict there, even within the Communist Party. And that's probably who Jahan's aligned himself with.
It just seems a ballsy move. Like he's doing something the government is very staunchly against, specifically courting individuals
Dude,
as customers that the government is trying to push out of the country. Like this.
are you seeing what's going on in Hong Kong? There's some brave people on the streets there, man. I mean, like, shit's going down here.
That's one city that's legally entitled to their state of independence. Like this, that's a whole nother ball game in mainland China.